Hello and welcome to another episode of AskBR. My name is Ronak and I'm one of the founders of Fully Filmy, a pop culture store that celebrates everything you love. And we're really excited to partner up with Film Companion South just for you. So, what you guys do is in every episode, you guys send in some amazing questions and BR answers them for you. But we thought we could take it a little notch higher. We wanted to reward you for your curiosity. So, here's the deal. In every episode of AskBR, the top 3 questions will win free t-shirts and goodies from fullyfilmy.in. So yeah, stay curious and cheers.
So thank you, Ronak, and all of you keep watching this episode of AskBR because the top 3 questions will get a prize that will be announced on our social media handle. So tune in for that. And now let's begin the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode of AskBR, I'm joined by the esteemed Kannada reviewer Kairam Vaashi, whose secret name only I know. So I'm most happy to have you, Kairam, on the show.
Hey, Bia, thanks. I'm happy to be here. And I'm also glad that you're still keeping the secret with you.
Thank you. Yeah. Now, Backup very poetically says OTTs are like rivers. They will keep moving one day and they give you small amount of experience at home and present enjoyment. But theaters are like oceans. They're huge and make a big difference in experience and feel to the people. What do you think about this?
Okay, so he does seem like, if it's a he, I didn't quite catch the name, but if it's a he does seem like a little bit of a poet and romantic. But my thing about this entire OTT versus theater thing, right? I look at it quite objectively. So I keep the romance out of it. So if theaters are oceans and OTTs are rivers and oceans give experience, I don't have much to say there. However, I think if rivers are easily accessible than the oceans, at least for Bangalore, that's the case. No ocean is closer to us, so I'm okay with rivers.
Yeah, I would actually think the reverse, because as in reverse, not reverse. But I'm because I would say OTT with its content is the ocean. Whereas like theaters are like the rivers that kind of, if you were to extend the metaphor, like stream past us with one movie and then until the next movie kind of flows along. Wow, this is great fun. We should continue along with this metaphor, throughout this show. So
and if I can add with rivers and
reverse or reverse, which is like, what are you saying?
No, I'm going to your analogy of theaters being rivers, right? So there we always know there is a river dispute between states. We also know that there are theater disputes. So theaters kind of trying to show only their language movies and so on and so forth. So from a dispute standpoint as well, I would go with you, theaters and rivers, OTTs and oceans.
The next question comes from Rajeshwar. He says, do you think multiplex culture in tier 3 towns will pick up? All major players concentrate on cities, whereas single screens in small towns charge 1,000 rupees for Ajit Vijay films and get away with it. I don't know. I think at least for OTT platforms like Netflix, the price barrier is still quite high, because I don't think people want to pay 650 or 700, even though it's actually not much in terms of if you are going to consume that content. But I think because they're used to downloading the content, free of charge, or watching it like somewhere else, the resistance to the price is high. Whereas I think there are other platforms like Hotstar which offer very, very reasonable packages. So I think they might pick up soon. But the thing about people charging $1,000 for an Ajit Vijay movie, I don't think that's ever going to change, because the people who want to do that, as in buy that ticket for that price, they're not doing it like for a very logical reason, right? They're doing it for an emotional reason, that they want to see the Tala or the Talapati film on the first day for that much money. I don't think that will change, because that fan is going to remain that fan. I don't think he's going to suddenly have this realization that, oh, for 1,000 rupees I could have actually gotten myself a Netflix subscription or whatever it is. It's like what do you think for that?
Right. So if this question is mostly about penetration of OTT into the whatever towns/villages, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities, whatever that is, right? I think will 100% be a little bit of power play there. Theater owners, the unions, and all of that versus the corporate giants. And more or less, I guess we can speculate as to who's going to win that. But coming back to this 1,000 rupee ticket and black tickets and paying a very hefty price and all of that, I completely go with you. They are paying it as some, going back to God worshipping.
Yeah.
They are putting that money in the hundi. So they don't see any logic in that. However, another very interesting proposition they would very soon maybe see is a lot of these internet service providers are giving you OTT packages along with internet and almost at dirt cheap prices. Now, if a TikTok or an Instagram or a YouTube has penetrated in these towns, then I'm just going to assume that this shall also be there one day, sooner or later.
N. Madhusudan asks, OTT is one thing we cinephiles didn't know we needed. As long as the theatrical system works in a way that cannot accommodate a film like The Irishman or Pava Kadegal, OTTs will thrive. Thanks to the large libraries, you can now watch older films through legitimate ways. I would agree to most of this, except that I wish the films were even older. Like, for example, I wish it was possible to view like really old, since this is FC South, I would say Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Malayalam films with subtitles. Like if tomorrow somebody wants to say, okay, what's the big fuss about Samskara? They should be able to get a good copy of that with subtitles and see, oh, this is why this film is so celebrated. I wish that happens as well, along with older films that you might have missed in the past 2 decades or all, because OTTs right now, I think, are still very star-driven in the sense that they pick up movies that, like, you might find all the Rajinikanth movies dating back to maybe his first film, but if you take an actor like, I don't know, like an actor with a lesser profile, you might find it difficult to find older films. So I think it would have happened anyway. But because of the pandemic and because we've gotten so used to watching movies and shows, and now because so many people are actually making content for OTT, I think it's great. And I think the biggest win of OTT, Kairam, is I know a lot of young directors and screenwriters who are thrilled at the prospect that they don't have to dilute their voices for cinema. They're just like delighted. Like, I can write this person exactly this way. I don't need a hero introduction scene. I don't need a whatever. So in some when these films that I'm that the screenplays that I'm reading and all that, when they come, we're going to see a fantastic range of films, at least in Tamil, that make a big difference to kind of the people who, like Madhusudan, who says he wants films like Irishman or Pava Kadegal. They're going to make a huge difference.
No, agreed. I completely agree with Madhusudan's comment there, right? Because I wish I could watch a lot more movies than I actually do, but then this is a treasure chest, right? You just, and then in a way it's a bottomless pit as well. You just keep digging as much as you want, and there is so much content. And about your point about having more older content, at least for Kannada, I can speak for, and YouTube is a great space for us.
Yeah.
We have a ton. Of course, there may not be subtitles, but then there are tons of the movies from the 60s, 70s, 80s on YouTube, and that is where we go to get that dose. Plus, on the OTTs, I'm sure someone's definitely looking at it. Maybe there's only this ROI conversation there, but once they've got that fixed, I think that should come up as well.
Yeah, and recently Mubi has started putting out a lot of older Tamil films. Like they put out Parashakti, like Shivaji Ganeshan's movie, like I think 2 or 3 days ago. But I think Mubi is still considered like a cinephilic kind of space. But that's another great space to kind of. I mean, that's one of the things about OTTs that I like, that you get like every kind of space. Like I watched the new Pedro Almodovar shot with Tilda Swinton because it came on Mubi, and otherwise I don't know, I wouldn't have watched it at all. I don't know where I would have watched it, because I wanted like this fantastic print, and it was just amazing to watch it. Like, because I have the subscription and I'm watching it there. So yeah.
And from a Kannada standpoint, again, MX4 is that slightly weird, interesting OTT platform, right? all of those, perhaps that's how it seems today, and I may be completely incorrect, but then, and maybe they have a different business model, but all of those which didn't make the cut to the Netflix or the Amazon Prime videos looks like they feature in on MX4, and we do have quite a lot of Kannada films which have done well in theaters on MX4.
Karthik Raj asks, OTT is a blessing where you can explore content which is not available in theater. Recently exploring OTT contents in black and white format, which helps me see content in a different view. Which format helps you analyze movies better and why?
For me, it's hands down OTT. Okay, I'm going to bring in how I look at it, guys. This right now, whether we like it or not, there is always this time pressure for a review, right? And then if the film is not a direct OTT release, then I will have to go to the theaters and get there. I can't wait those 30 days to have the film release on OTT and then do a review on it. So from that standpoint, it's inevitable for me to go to the theaters and watch it. However, if there's a direct to OTT kind of a release, I would any day prefer OTT, especially from an analysis standpoint, simply because I can have multiple reviewings of the same thing. I can go back, pause. Of course, the first time I don't want to do that. I want to watch it at full length at once. But then to analyze, to understand, to learn, to have more discussions, to decode, I simply love OTT because that's the only thing which gives me an option to pause and keep rewatching.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like from a reviewing standpoint, I think I follow the theatrical model because I think I should respect the flow of the that the filmmaker wanted, and not pause the film or like go back or whatever it is, because that's the same thing that I would have done in a theater, right? So it's not fair to kind of go back and get that information that you might have missed or something like that, because if you're doing that, it means that the film was a little amiss in providing that information in a clearer way, or you were kind of probably not concentrating or whatever it is. But whatever it is, that experience should be there when you review a film, because like otherwise it's like cheating, right? You're kind of you can watch the film twice or thrice and then kind of give a review. But you're right, for the once the review is done, and you go back to like rewatching films. I have films that I rewatch all the time. Sometimes there'll be like this shot or something like that you didn't notice was taken a certain way, and you just watch it, and you, because we kind of don't celebrate our people enough, because it's this culture on Twitter that either they want a film to be either terrific or it's rubbish.
Correct.
Whereas most films fall somewhere in the middle because they're trying something. There could be good cinematographic things in it. There could be good editing things in it. There could be maybe good actorly moments in it. But that doesn't mean it's rubbish. But somehow we've come to this polarized place where like movies are either like oh, fantastic, oh, it's great, it's fantastic, watch it, or like it's like it's a piece of crap. I think especially because of that, it's sometimes good to go back and revisit the movies that Twitter was telling you was crap, because you may discover that actually it was not that at all. And I mean, if you stayed away because of the bad reviews, you might find that you might have a very different like impact when you see it yourself, and kind of are able to put together for yourself what it's all about.
My opinion is that's the same for the positive reviews as well. If you just simply see overwhelmingly positive reviews on Twitter as well, I would still take it with a pinch of salt and tell myself, okay, this is Twitter review, so
it's like Sarpata Parambara. It's a damn good film, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have certain issues in it. I mean, it just means that the issues are not deal breakers while watching the whole film. But the way everybody celebrates a film, it's just there's nothing at all. And to kind of and similarly, even at the other end, there's just like Sarpata was celebrated, there was Gautam's film Guitar Kambi Mele Nindru, which came out as part of Navarasa, which actually I was like, seriously, an underwhelming series of shots, but it's not that bad. I mean, there's a certain he's trying something which means that he's trying to show the first day of a relationship developing, and instead of showing the second day and the third day or the midpoint of the thing, he's cutting right to, okay, spoiler ahead, but he's cutting right to the point where the relationship has ended. That's structurally something very new for a romantic film, and for a director to be known for his romance to be doing this 20 years after, it's amazing. So that's what I'm saying. That Sarpata and Guitar Kabhi are probably the two ends I'm talking about. It's like, just like that's a movie which is a very good movie, but with flaws. This is also a problematic movie, but with a lot of positives. So it's not, it's not an either or. And I hope that people, when they watch it again in OTT, all these movies again, like when the hype has died down, and when stuff like that, maybe they'll discover things that they didn't want to.
No, agreed. I mean, the entire exercise of movie watching or reviewing or appreciation or whatever is not about a hit or a miss, right? There is always that middle ground. But anyway, I think we are all now conditioned to be polarized and either choose.
Yeah, that's the word.
But just going back to your own example of Sapata, right? The way you looked at the scene where the two parambarais are meeting, and then the entire architecture, the way it is staged, and the architecture of the ring and that place itself, I am assuming that you could do that only on your second viewing, or were you able to catch that in the first viewing itself?
So and the first viewing, I really caught the fact that was a very special scene. But that what I did in the AskBR, I was only able to catch, like I was able to look at the specific parts only in the second viewing. But right in the first viewing itself, I think I even mentioned it in the review, that like the staging is extraordinary, especially in a scene where because that's why I'm going back and looking at it closely, right? Because the first time I said, okay, this is really, really special, because it's a complicated scene, because there's like this side and that side, and there's like the ring point of view, and so it's kind of a scene. It's impossible to catch all that in the first viewing, but your mind does register that, wow, there's something amazing happening here. But then the second viewing is when you really like go and break it down and do all that, and which is possible with OTT now, because it's like, because it's always there, you're able to do all these dissections and all these kinds of things, that kind of thing. So Kuti Buddhar says, I miss theaters badly. I decided to go to single screen theaters as much as possible. Once they're open and safe, you should encourage it too. I would not encourage you going to a theater just because it's a single screen. They should have safety protocols in space. If they say they're going to allow 50% seating, they should do 50% seating and not kind of thing. And people go inside with a mask, but then they take off their masks. So we are talking about, I mean, the big problem we're facing right now is that, yes, it's come down. It's not as alarming as when we first faced the pandemic. But the thing is also that we've gotten used to this pandemic. So there's a sense of, we've seen the worst of it, and now we don't know what's happening. But I would say that whichever theater you go to, and I would love to go to theaters again, but be very careful about like the fact that they are going to follow all the safety protocols for COVID. That's all I have to say. So So this is for you, Kairam. Truth Seeker says KFI seems to be disinterested in leveraging OTT space. Also, no major OTT player is producing original content in Kannada. It's like a deadlock. What do you think it is?
Yeah, I think we are all trying to seek the truth behind that situation there. I think it's just that yet another game where we've been very, very late adopters, right? I mean, no shame in admitting that. Plus, what I've heard, and I will have to always take it with a pinch of salt, but what I've heard is there is no lump sum one-shot payment made to many of the Kannada films, right? It's all on a pay-per-view kind of or a commission per view kind of a basis. And when I've spoken to more than a couple of producers, filmmakers, they have told me that it doesn't make the cut for them in terms of the finances, right? To a level where even if they do such an agreement with an OTT platform, they will end up only in a few lakhs, while the investments are in crores, one. And two, being late adopters, I don't think we had a good chunk of people already making content for the OTT. However, that is shifting with the likes of Ikat and all of that, which I'm assuming was more or less made for the OTT. I think I'm sure there would be a lot more Kannada filmmakers, writers, creators, right, who are looking at OTT only content. So that should change.
Kalyan Gautam asks, as OTT grows, finally our female-led projects are gaining recognition. Is it best for actresses to build their career and stardom based on OTT, like the way Nayanthara, Kirti Suresh, and Jyotika have by releasing their last 2 or 3 films on OTT? See, these actresses are already stars. I mean, they don't have to build their stardom, with OTT. Whatever happened with their respective films was more a case of theaters not being open, and they just said, okay, let's kind of put it on OTT. But I do feel, yeah, it's easily going to, it's a no-brainer. I mean, a lot of films that are going to be female centric are going to kind of go to OTT if they get the right price, especially if it's led by a star female, like a female who's a star, a female actor who's a star. Whether you like it or not, the big openings and the big things, that's all like very, very, it's very difficult even now to kind of convince distributors in certain areas to buy a film that is led by a where the top billing is given to a female star. I mean, it's the truth. It's very sad, but that's the truth. And probably we audience will also have to blame for it, because we probably go readily to the heroes films, whereas we don't readily go to the films that are top billed by a heroine. So yeah, but that's definitely going to change.
Sure. No, I think I get that question was from how would it work for the female artists and all of that. I get that, but then generally, right, overall for artists, this is going to work big time. OTT is a blessing, right? Be it an actor, be it a writer, whatever sort of an artist that you are, it's going to work. And another thing that I just wanted to drop here was, like you rightly mentioned, the Nayantharas of the world are already stars even before their OTT films saw release and all of that. And let's not look at it as a divide. There is always stepping across, transition happening. If there were TV serials, serial actors who came on to the films and could become stars, that possibility is always going to be open with OTT as well. You have a couple of great OTT hits, and then you will be cast in a big theater film as well. So that doors are never shut, and that's always going to be the way it's going to work.
Right. I mean, I think that's a very interesting way to look at it, because people gain the first few steps, they get in the OTT space, and then they're noticed, and then like what happened with Pratik Gandhi in Scam, which is just so fantastic that, I mean, like this actor that at least I hadn't like known much about earlier, and then suddenly you discover that he's the head, top lining this amazing series called, and it's fantastic. So I hope we get a lot of like good actors from this space as well, people who are
and so many YouTube content creators have already made the cut.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to see when BR gets a role.
Oh,
or maybe that's on the cards already.
Please, I have got a role. I'm not telling you who the filmmaker is. I have got a role of being the chief minister who gets brutally like machine gunned down in the middle of a cabinet meeting. And I was like so looking forward to it, but the film didn't take off.
Oh God.
Because I was like, my God, that would have been so cool. Queen is Dead says, I think watching films on OTTs become a laborious task since there's so much to watch. Going to theaters was more calming. It was more like a routine in a sense. The experience was unparalleled. However, I believe from the recent releases, Sarpata Parambara works so well on OTT, and I believe it would run wonders in theaters. Your take on this?
I don't know. I don't buy into this argument of, hey, this did well on OTT and it could have done wonders in the theaters. I don't know. I can't draw that correlation at all. Plus, this entire thing of OTT, watching films on OTT being a laborious task. Sure, it's a problem of plenty, and that's the case for everyone. But if I can take the liberty to kind of put a lighter spin to it, I mean, I don't watch films 24/7. At max, if I can, at least me, right? I'm just speaking for myself. If I get the time to watch at least one film a week, that's more or less it. So I can just go and pick anything and just watch it. So I don't spend too much time into figuring out what I have to watch. So it's not laborious for me, at least.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, and another thing that OTT really helps in is that because there are so many series that I don't know how people manage to watch everything on the same day and declare like binge watch it and declare that it's great or whatever. But like I have just gotten to Modern Love. The season 2 came out, and I've been meaning to watch season 1, but I never got the time. And now I'm watching season 1, and I'm loving it. It's like it's there, and like it's there. It's always there. Unlike a theater where they're going to take the movie off, and then the next movie is going to come, and then they take the movie off. This is a permanent repository for things that you can always visit or revisit or whatever it is, and it's so much more convenient. Earlier, I mean, of course, you could say that earlier there was VHS, and then there was Laserdisc, and then there was Blu-ray, but then you had to physically go out and buy each film or DVD or whatever it is. Whereas here, it's all there. Like you just have to subscribe to a service, and they are providing the films. So the litter in your house also gets less, because I find that there are so many. I don't know if this is a common phenomenon or just mine, and I would like to hear your experience. When you buy films, you actually never end up watching it immediately. You end up watching something else, and then you suddenly, like, you go back like after a year and like, oh my god, I have this film, I should have watched it back then. And I don't know.
Absolutely. So is the case with anything else, right? Clothes and you just buy clothes. It's just in your wardrobe. You're never wearing it, especially in during these times.
Yeah.
Luckily the camera is only till here, so
Yeah.
I don't have to.
Yeah.
So
You don't want to
absolutely,
hear this.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Sharath N asks if for when the theaters open, are only huge tentpole star films going to occupy all the screens? I definitely think so. I think the mid-level film is going to get cut out of the ecosystem forever, because Sharath mentions Managaram, which is Lokesh's first film, Lokesh Kanakaraj's first film, and it became a word-of-mouth theatrical hit. I think those are going to become much tougher. I think for younger filmmakers, it's going to be much easier to make their mark on OTT, prove that they've got it, and then get picked up for bigger films on. So what Lokesh would do today probably is get Managaram onto OTT, get the rave reviews, prove that he is capable of handling this film. Then, the Kaidi will happen for the big screen, and the Master will happen for the big screen. I think that's how, things will work. What do you think, Kairam?
No, absolutely. I think it's safe to consider that it's a given now. And also, why do these big star films work in OTT? Because it's like we already discussed, it's an event. It's not as much as the film itself, but it's all about the fanfare and the event. So those will stay. And I don't mind being a part of that at all.
This is a joke. It's not a thing, but it's so good that I just want to read it out. It's not a question. The croissant says, theater equals no big disturbance. OTT equals mom calling 1,008 times for every 5 minutes of the movie.
Got it.
So it's kind of...
He or she is not married for sure.
B says, having spent most of the lockdown on OTT, when I started going back to a theater over the past couple of months, my brain automatically started searching for the fast forward button to skip through the boring sequences. And I think this is probably going to be a danger. It's like it's like how you initially used to read a book, and then as time became less and you got a smartphone, you started skipping the boring pages of a book, or the boring pages of a book. And then, I was actually talking about this to a friend the other day, because today I don't know if people will have the patience to read, like, I don't know, Anna Karenina or something like that, because there is so much description about the clothes and the weather and the palaces and the the balls and the this and that. It's it's I don't know if now they'll be like, okay, she wore this dress and went out. Why do I care? There were ruffles on the side, and they're like, her neck was encrusted with diamonds, and like, whatever, she just put on some shit and went out. Why do I care? I was like, yeah, but I think this is going to be a thing when people get used to doing the fast forwarding the songs or the other things. I think it's going to become at least for some people, it's going to become a problem to sit through the boring portions.
No, absolutely. I mean, if that's the concern, then for the person whoever posted this question, then OTT fits the bill perfectly fine for them. And also, it kind of reminded me of an analogy, right? When I used to first, back in the day, right, go to a stadium to watch a cricket match, I would always look for the replay, and I would think, why is the replay not happening uh, on the stadium, right? I was young, of course, but yeah, I mean, and if I'm for highlights and replays, then TV is the right space for me. Likewise, if pausing, forwarding is what you do, then OTT is the right place.
Nathan Drake asks an interesting question. Has OTT really changed the audience during the pandemic? In the sense that the announcement in Tamil, Telugu, Kannada industry still seems to be all about the usual mass masala entertainers that we've been seeing for the past 3 decades.
So my opinion about this is absolutely, at least my sensibilities have altered a bit for sure. But at the same time, I think at least consciously I can make that distinction and look at which are the big star films and look at how to approach them slightly differently from the other OTT, brand OTT kind of films. So will I always carry what I see from the content on OTT to the theater films? May not be, but has it altered somewhere subconsciously a bit? 100%.
I don't think audience sensibilities can be changed by OTT. I mean, if you've grown up like watching slow films, you will like slow films. Just because you suddenly one day watch a foreign film or movie, you're not going to like suddenly get that thing. I have this theory, Kairam, that if you don't expose yourself to art cinema by the age of, let's say, 25 or something like that, you're going to find it very difficult after that to suddenly watch art films, because your brain is pretty much wired by the time you're 25, because that's the time you really have all the time in the world. Your brain, I mean, you're still filling up you are still being wired, you're being put together as a person. And so when whatever you watch, whatever you read, whatever you listen to at that point, that becomes your mostly fixed. I'm not saying that it's impossible to get into other stuff, but if you haven't heard any jazz before like the age of 25 and you're suddenly listening to jazz at 35, it's going to be very difficult for your mind to kind of wrap itself around that kind of music. So which is
and
why
that goes back to what you were saying about book reading as well.
Yeah. So yeah, same thing. So if you haven't, so I don't think sensibilities have are going to really change. I think like even now when you look at the top 10 performing movies or series or whatever, they're all stuff that please a large number of people, as opposed to something very difficult that people have suddenly decided to watch now because, I have OTT, I can now watch all these artist things, that kind of thing that I don't know. I don't think that'll happen.
But if I can present this, the overacting that's tagged with Shivaji Ganeshan, rightly or wrongly, mostly wrongly, I don't agree with it. But then we have seen that die over the ages, right?
Right.
And then and I think another aspect here is, if a film is written, shot, enacted for an OTT release, naturally the sensibilities of that film itself is going to be different from the ones in theaters, right? Like stage acting is different. Let's say the big screen acting now is different, and perhaps the OTT acting is different. So if someone's only been consuming OTT acting, OTT writing, and all of that, I'm saying they may find it a little odd, and like some kid today may look at Shivaji's acting and say overacting. And I think in that sense, the sensibilities could be altered a little, and at least and to a large extent depends on who the audience demography is as well.
No. I have no doubt that with generation the sensibility will change. I'm just talking about a single person, who has grown up on Shivaji, is going to, if they watch only Shivaji till they're about 25 years of age, that's going to be the definition of acting. Then suddenly Kamal comes along and kind of dials it down. They're going to find it a little difficult to kind of get into that, is what I'm trying to say. When I see my parents watching films, for instance, they watch what films that I would consider very simple or simplistic, which is basically one story, which is basically like some, they don't care about making or whatever it is. It's basically something to just watch, like some, it could be, they laugh through the cliched parts, but they don't pick the, like if the slightly artier or difficult, even a Balu Mahendra's Veedu, for instance, which is actually not a very intimidating film to get into. They just reject it because it's it's too slow, it's too this one. That's the only thing I'm saying. I'm not, but a person who's a cinephile, I think those are separate category, because they will be able to, because they are into this medium, they're always going to be interested. Just like I grew up in the Ilayaraja era, and I was able to transition into Rahman and this and that because I love music. So for me, music is a thing. It's I'm going to be consciously thing. But if you look at other aspects of life, I'm stuck in my pre-25 tastes. With movies and music, I evolved because I consciously I'm in it all the time. That's the only thing I was saying. Not that generations won't change, but that people individually are not automatically going to say, I prefer the OTT sensibility now, except in things like I'm able to forward this, or I'm able to do that. I don't know. I just feel
No,
that way.
but my point is, if I've been watching, let's say, Malayalam films, and then particularly, let's say, Fahad Fazil, right? And I watched him in Joji, Malik, and the tons of the other films. And Malik is a gangster film, right? Sort of. So now, if I go back to a theater and watch one of my stars on the screen playing a gangster, wouldn't I start comparing and say, oh, Fahad could do it in a subtler manner? Why is my star doing so much of an additional thing?
For me, no, that's not a problem, because for me, I would say that because if the first 10 minutes of the movie are establishing that this movie is in a louder volume, then I would automatically expect that performance. I would not want that, because the movies, if the Fahad movie pitch is here, this movie is starting at this pitch, so the acting will be at that pitch. I don't know if
Agreed.
I would go back to
But
I
I
don't know.
don't. But I also feel not maybe everyone's going to be that mature.
No,
Yet
but
at
I'm
the
saying
same time, they'll think,
I guess that's where I brought in the fact that cinephiles are different. Maybe I don't know. So
right.
from Surya Prakash, I don't miss theaters much due to the availability of content. Isn't theatrical experience romanticized a bit too much? Most of us have watched many of the classics like 2001: A Space Odyssey, Apocalypse Now, Psycho, and Citizen Kane on TV, but the greatness of the art itself hasn't changed. How come watching new movies in TV is now seen as a lesser experience? Isn't it in our mind rather than the experience itself? And I think, Kairam, we're both going to say yes to this, because it's a
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Even though, like a couple of years ago, when I was at the Cannes Film Festival, uh, and they were showing Apocalypse Now, the latest cut of Coppola's latest cut. He's ticketed that film so much I've lost count of the number of cuts he has. But and it was something else. It was literally like a religious experience for me, because I'm like seeing Apocalypse Now in a screen, on the big screen kind of a thing. But no, but most of the movies that I've watched, older movies, I've not seen a single Orson Welles film on a big screen. Touch of Evil, Citizen Kane,
Exactly.
everything's been on TV, or whatever it is. So I have never seen those kinds of things. So I think it's great that the repository is there and that you can watch it. The only thing that worries me is when they start saying things like they're going to censor stuff, because then you're going to lose some of that older film. But I think I also would maybe quibble a bit with the thing that don't we romanticize the theatrical experience too much. I think there is something a little romantic about watching a movie on the big screen. What do you think about that?
I have given this thought a lot of time, and somehow I seem to completely agree with what Surya Prakash is saying on both the points. One, why is it a lesser experience? But again, because I haven't seen it on the big screen, maybe the 2001 Space Odyssey or something like that, I don't have any comparison. But anyway, this film worked absolutely fine on my laptop screen as well. So that for sure. But I still feel it's and people may not like me for saying this, especially now that I don the hat of this reviewer as well. But yeah, I think, like I mentioned at the beginning as well, right? I think there's a little bit of romance attached to it, and I don't endorse it completely.
Right.
Just because there are to pay for that romance, not just in terms of money, but the travel and the hygiene and everything else,
Yeah.
it just takes too much of a price from my end.
Yeah. Yeah, when I said romanticize, it's not so much the actors' films, as so much as some directors use the big screen very well. And when you watch those films on a big screen, the you can really see that if let's say they're using an anamorphic lens or something like that, you can really see they've gone to the trouble to shoot things that way, like
Ah,
like it's something else watching a Sergio Leone film on a big screen. And I've seen Good, Bad, and Ugly and that entire trilogy on the big screen, and it's something else, because you're kind of that man really knows where to put the camera, and to see his films on the big screen is really something else. Whereas when today I know this is going to happen. I'm not even predicting, like, I think this may happen. People are going to shoot for shorter formats.
exactly.
That Dr. Zhivago scene where David Lean lets the train travel from this end of the screen till it's puffing and puffing along and puffing along across the snow, and then it slowly reaches the other end of the screen. People won't shoot those kinds of scenes anymore, because they will they know that putting in the investment for that kind of scene is not going to pay off. We're going to have things with more mid shots and close ups, because people want to see. That's going to be easiest to sell. I think the grammar of visual narration is going to undergo a lot of change. You can't have big night scenes, because night scenes work very well on the big screen, whereas they're not going to work very well on if you don't have if you're going to watch it on a
Action
phone or
as well.
action as well. They're not going to watch if you watch a night scene on a phone, unless it's really shot like with very high definition. You might not get the blacks, like the blacks may be smudgy or something like that. So I do think that is going to go away, because unlike like the West, where they invest a lot of money on TV shows, like when you watch a Peaky Blinders, for instance, you are not aware that you're watching a TV show. It looks like a movie. The way the time they take with the scenes, the way they shoot, like long, they don't just shoot these close-ups or stuff like that. It's like watching a thing. Unless people are, I think, given that kind of budgets, which I don't know if it's going to happen very soon here, unless it's like a very big production or something like that. I think it's also the same question, right? Because a Peaky Blinder can be sold to 200 countries, whereas if you make even a Navarasa, the countries that will actually show interest in it will probably be 20 or something like that, because in terms of carrying it, where there are more Indians than kind of a thing. So I think that also plays a difference. Just like a Hollywood film is seen all over the world, whereas an Indian film, even if you release it elsewhere, is seen mostly by the diaspora or by a few people who are interested in Indian films. That is going to hold us back in terms of the visual grammar. So thanks so much, Kairam, for joining me in this discussion, which I think should have been next time we should do this. Like, there is a really long discussion which is just about one topic, and say,
Yeah.
do this. So, but thanks for being here.
In fact, just if I can kind of flaunt, these are a number of points that I had written in advance.
Oh my
So,
God!
so
Yeah,
I was prepared for a big debate, and I came prepared in the debate format, right? I had my set of points, and then I thought I'll present those and then go for the Q
Okay,
and A.
okay. I'm just going to
But
ask you to hold it closer so I can see your handwriting.
oh, no, that's
No,
horrible.
please,
And
Karam, don't do this. It's like
I,
you've
I
already
can.
shown
I
it
have
once. I
brow
think you
shaved
could.
as such. But then if you see here, I have written why theater, why not theater, why OTT, why not OTT, several points. And then, what are going to be my talking points and so on and so forth.
Lovely. Okay, good for you. So thanks, everyone. Thanks for tuning into Film Companion South. Thanks, Karam, and see you in the next episode of AskBR.